Okay, right now I'm in New York State, and I've been checking the plants all up and down this road because there's like huge patches of flowers all up and down the roads, and also in the parking lots out here. And this particular plant that's growing more abundantly is a plant that Native Americans used to use for birth control called Queen Anne's lace. And you see right there it forms these little balls that are going to grow seed pods, and you shake them out, you dry them, and then you got a whole bucket full of birth control to last through winter. But I just wanted to videotape the fact that there's very few, almost no insects on these plants every day. And I've been up and down this road for a couple of weeks now, and that's a pretty consistent thing where you don't really see much of anything going on at the huge patches of flowers up and down the roads here in New York State. And that's because of the pesticides used to grow the food to support human populations that really have become too large. And I'm sharing this to say that there are a lot of reasons why preaching mandatory polygamy for all men is not okay. It's not okay to continue mass incarcerating and mass murdering men to ensure that there's a surplus of wives and a surplus of side chicks. Look at what forcing that evolutionary path is doing. I was homeless in California for almost 2 years, begging for adult diapers to avoid shitting on myself and pissing on myself because I was hurt really bad. And while I was homeless, I used to see the same thing in one particular spot I used to sleep in, where it'd be the same 2 little female honeybees coming to the bush covered in flowers every day doing the work by themselves, because most of the hive is dead and their population's too low. And my thing is, all these practitioners of Ifa and Santeria and Obeah and Hoodoo and Voodoo and all of that, all these people who work with Oshun, who holds bees to be sacred, why can't they speak on the mass extinction of bees that's happening to support the food that supports human populations that are too big? Why are none of them speaking on it? You know, like, the only thing you hear them talking about is how we need to be detached and not bond too closely with a man and force ourselves to fit the mandatory surplus of females format. Okay. Well, okay, yeah, you've done that, but if the conservationists quit doing beekeeping to support our farms, then this predominantly white nation called America could very easily starve to death because there's no bugs. You can clearly see that it's not just the honeybees that have had a massive die-off. See, look at that. There's only one bug on this plant. Look at it right there. And it's not a honeybee, it's something else, but it's only one bug. It looks like some kind of fly. It doesn't have the fur for pollen to stick to. It's a fly. So again, you can see the huge lack of insect life. It's not just the honeybees. There's nothing on these plants. We as a people need to be noticing something more than just booties to dive into. We as black and brown people need to be preaching something more than mandatory polygamy for all people. You know, like, we're dangerously close to a massive die-off, because if something goes wrong and those beekeepers at the farm cannot do their job, that means you have nothing to eat. There is no escaping into the wilderness to farm for you. Not unless you have the education to know that you might have to pollinate all of your plants by hand. If the bee die-off gets too bad, which it already has. So I'm trying to say that we need a return to a more balanced way of deciding of family planning. Our family planning in America is way out of control. In Africa, it's out of fucking control. In Asia, it's out of control. And it needs to be something more than brainwashing everybody into thinking that there's a surplus of females. There's not a surplus of females, and there is a surplus of, there's just too many fucking people. And our species is dangerously close to literally killing itself. I mean, I'm about to videotape some more flowers over here. Look at the buttercups over here. Well, these are not buttercups. This is something else. But not one insect of any kind on these flowers. And no honeybees. When I was little, you could see flowers like this on an uncut lawn, and all of them would be covered with honeybees and bumblebees and all kinds of bugs. And look at this shit. There's no insects of any kind, and not even the pollinators. None. And like I said, these high priests and high priestesses of Ifa, they can walk out their front door in almost any part of the world and see this, and they're not reporting on it. And especially the ones who serve Oshun. They're the main ones who should be talking about the disappearance of honeybees and what it means to humanity. And they're not. So something's seriously wrong somewhere. The problem is not solely just with Christians. There's a problem on the pagan side too. And when is it going to be addressed?